And we'll now have our panel pose their questions to the candidates.
With the baby boomer generation either at or nearing retirement, the number of people collecting Social Security is expected to increase to 84 million. There are very serious concerns about the stability of the Social Security system in the near future. What reforms would you support, if any, to the Social Security system?
Okay, and we will start with Mr. Boyd.
The first thing I would do is secure our borders and stop giving Social Security to illegal aliens. Second thing I would do, there's no constitutional authorization for the federal government to have ever gotten in the insurance business. We'd be looking at the same debacle if we turn over our health care system to them. There's no constitutional authorization for it. However, seeing as that commitment was made by the federal government, it needs to live up to that commitment. So those already in the Social Security system need to be able to continue to draw from it with increases for cost of living, as is expected, as would only be decent. But those wishing to opt out of the Social Security system, the young people that know they're never going to get their money out of it, they need to have the opportunity to invest the money for their own retirement the way that they see fit. Thank you.
Thank you. And I did fail to say that each candidate will have an opportunity to address each question if they wish. They are not required to do so. Mr. Grover.
Yes, Social Security, I mean, the main problem is it's underfunded. You have to look at your priorities. Is it taking care of responsibilities at home to people who you've promised and they've paid into the system? Or is it to go and colonialize places like Iraq at the cost of $330 million a day? You really just have to look at your priorities. I'm a firm believer in single-payer national health care, and I believe once everybody has health care under one general system and they understand that, that'll alleviate the burden of dealing with different systems and bringing health care under Medicaid and private insurers. It would be better if you funded both. You fund health care and you fund Social Security. You have to fund it. That's all it amounts to. You have to look at your priorities, and if you can put $330 million a day in Iraq, you should be able to keep your promises to the people who paid into the system.
Thank you. Mr. Kurkowski.
Talked to many people in the course of this campaign, and some of them depend almost exclusively on Social Security for their day-to-day expenses. It's something we have to realize that is the money that those people have put into the system. We have to make sure it's there when they're ready to retire. So we really need to make sure that the system is kept stable. Can you imagine what would have happened to Social Security if the Bush proposal to privatize Social Security was enacted into law earlier in this decade? We would have had a disaster. We have to make sure that that money is put in a lockbox and it's not touched, it's not rated for other programs, and then it will be there for retirement.
Thank you, Mr. Lobiando.
The Social Security system that we have in our country is key and essential for many reasons, and people who are collecting Social Security understand that, and everyone who is on the system is getting their benefits. There are a lot of people who've attempted to send out mailings to seniors with the attempt to scare them that they're not going to get their benefits. But that doesn't mean that there aren't problems and challenges that we have to look at. I believe that we should look to the experts. AARP has had a big stake in this, and I've had a close liaison with them. And if we draw a consensus on the proposals that will make a difference, and this will be done by a series of experts. It won't be done like we did the bailout, where we get a couple of Washington insiders inside of a room to put together a proposal and try to ram it through in 48 hours or 72 hours or whatever it was. Social Security is too big and too important. If we can develop a consensus panel of experts that can make proposals to Congress that we can intelligently discuss and debate and present to the American people so that all of you understand clearly what Washington is trying to do and can weigh in on your opinion, then I think we can arrive at a conclusion that will strengthen and stabilize Social Security for far into the future.
Thank you. Mr. Rosa.
Yes, Social Security is a socialist idea. That's right, folks. And I'll tell you something. My mother is a senior citizen. She gets Social Security, and I have to support her. Social Security should have compensated for a livable retirement. It's really a shame when you're hearing on the news that you have a couple of senior citizens living in a cardboard box having to share a can of dog food. That's not the kind of country I want to live in. My America, everybody floats. And you know what? We have so much corporate welfare. We have so much handouts for the rich. We have so much socialism for the rich. There really is enough money to go around to help people out of poverty. I've been at this for too long to buy everything that's being told to me. We don't really need a big government to run Social Security. What we need are competent people with the expertise who could manage the money in an uncorrupt fashion. That's what's really needed. And the money's there. When we figure all the millions and billions that are going for war and the big payoffs to Halliburton, Bechtel, and Boeing, there's enough money for Social Security and more.
Mr. Stein?
I'm not sure, but I don't think I heard any specifics there. Listen, I'm an aspiring politician. I'm not a politician yet, and I could say these things. Perhaps you might have to move the retirement age back a few years. My first dabbling in the politics was at a Governor Corzine town hall meeting in, I think it was March. At that time, I had no idea I'd even be doing this, but I stood up and asked him a question at the meeting, questioning his solution for the budget fix that we're in New Jersey, which had to do with the state workers and their retirement age. And his weak solution was to push the state retirement age for new hires back 2 years, when those 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds would probably live 20 years, 25 years more than those of us in this audience here tonight. So that's the kind of fixes we're getting from the politicians. You just might well have to move the retirement age back a couple of years because folks were broke.